At the stroke of midnight on New Year's, California will become the 8th state to legalize recreational marijuana. But questions remain about the new law and what it means for buyers and sellers of the drug. Carter Evans has more from Los Angeles.
As holder of the very first state license to sell recreational marijuana, Torrey Holistics, a medical pot shop in San Diego, is scrambling to implement a host of new rules and regulations so it can sell to the public by New Year's Day.
So you've had to create new packaging.
We did. Our packaging is completely changing so that it is not see-through.
Marketing Director Ruthie Edelson is also preparing for product changes and new dosing requirements for marijuana's active ingredient, THC.
Something like this has 100 milligrams in the whole packaging.
So that should fit within the rules.
But it doesn't, because each piece needs to be 10 milligrams or less.
Smoking marijuana is off limits in restaurants, bars, and most public areas, and unless your landlord approves, you may not even be able to smoke it in your apartment. Some local governments are banning pot shops entirely. Others are still working out the legal details.
Los Angeles is the largest city in the country to allow sales of recreational marijuana. But come January 1st, the general public will not be able to come into medical shops like this and buy it. In fact, the city won't even start taking retail applications until next week.
Lori Ajax runs the California Bureau of Cannabis Control.
It is going to take a while for these businesses to get up and running, but we're also asking people to be patient.
California Highway Patrol officers are also bracing for legal pot, so they're getting the word out that smoking marijuana and driving is illegal.
But did you know that smoking a joint can get you a DUI?
Authorities expect to see an increase in cannabis-related crashes, just like other states where the drug is legal.
If you can buy a drink or buy a joint, you can also afford a Lyft, an Uber, a taxi.
With more than 39 million people, California has the 6th largest economy in the world. Legal marijuana is projected to be a $7 billion industry. And Tanya, that could mean tax revenues for state and local governments up to $1 billion a year.
Wow, what a windfall. Carter, what are the biggest hurdles marijuana sellers are facing right now in California?
Well, let's take a shop like this, for example. This is a medical shop that we're in right now. They have a license to sell medical marijuana. They do not have a license to sell recreational marijuana. It's not because they don't want one. They want to get one. The city of Los Angeles, which is where we are right now, is not accepting applications and won't be accepting applications until last week. In fact, the city council just approved the rules a couple of weeks ago, and the state agency, the Cannabis Control Board, they only started accepting state applications just a couple of weeks ago as well. So it's going to take some time before a lot of these shops can get up to business. It just doesn't mean that on January 1st, people are going to be able to walk into stores and buy marijuana without a medical license.
So there will actually just be a few places open for business, as it were.
There will be a few places open for business. San Diego, a lot in San Diego. That community has it under control. They started working on their regulations early last year when this new law was passed. Certain other areas, Oakland, Berkeley, they're all set right now, several locations. But as far as other areas of California, they've still got a long ways to go.
Now, how will law enforcement tackle the DUI issue? Are there any plans for that in the works?
That's another big concern right now. There is no breathalyzer test for marijuana, so the question is, how do you tell if someone is too high to drive? Well, the California Highway Patrol says 95% of their officers, 97% rather, have now been trained as drug recognition experts. What does that mean? Well, they've received special training. They're supposed to be able to get some idea if you are not in a condition to drive, and if that may be related to drugs when you don't show up positive on a breathalyzer test for alcohol. It sure leaves a lot open to interpretation. It is very, very subjective, Tanya, and I'm sure a lot of this is going to be settled in the courts in the days and months to come.
Absolutely. Carter Evans, thank you for that.
Sure.